Ooh, how fun is this? Welcome, greetings, all that know me or are getting to know me. If you don't, on Instagram, I am a poet, so I like to think. Allura_inspires is the handle for that. And today, I want you to know that these videos that I'm going to make are not only unscripted, I'm learning, so I'll be my own editor. Zooming like this. I wanted to talk about crystals because I am a Reiki master and have not done it in a while. The reason I haven't done it in a while is, quite frankly, I was giving so much of myself that I left myself open for being targeted and not savoring in my own gift. So one of the lessons when you are a healer or trying to help others, family, friends, is help yourself and give back to yourself, because you'll find yourself, depleted. And so I come on this channel that I've recreated. I had a YouTube channel before simply for spirituality, is to bring not only poetry to life by reading it and reading my comrades, but to educate you the best way I know how. Now, I'm no guru of any one particular modem. However, I do appreciate Earth's glory, and one of those glories are the stones, like the amethyst that you see here. Let's face it, when you're going to a therapist, a doctor, a healer like myself, we know there's something wrong. So you have to be very weary. Not everyone's going to be as honest as I will be on this channel. You have to be weary of what's real, what's hype, what works for you. Last time I went to a psychic, for example, all she talked about was my liver. And I know, with all the meds that I've taken, with all the things that I've abused my body, that was a point. But I was kind of hoping she'd tell me a little bit more. So I spent about $200 last time I'll go to a psychic, because intuitively, you, my friends, are healers. Yes, sometimes you need a guide, and that's what I consider myself, both on Instagram, hopefully on here. Take everything that you learn, do your own research, and then be careful of this thing that I just wrote about called blind faith. And I may read that excerpt for you. Blind faith can be a beautiful, beautiful and magical thing. But if it's something that deters or segregates, and you use the name of faith or religion to do less than goodwill, then you're contributing to a very dangerous world. And this world needs much more voices like ours, much more appreciation for earthly things, and not to misinterpret them or worship them by any means. What I mean by that is crystal therapy does work in the sense that it is matter. It is extracted from the gorgeousness of the earth. Imagine you're walking on rocks and underneath them is amethyst or, precious stones that you would never know. And since we are a form of energy, of course, earth, the metals, the magnesium, the iron, has its own form of healing benefits. But what I hate to see, and that's where I will use the word, is people thinking that that is the only way to heal, or chanting without even knowing what you're saying. So yes, I'm a fan of crystals, and some of which I will go into explanation. I have a book, you're welcome to look it up, and I don't promote anyone here unless you're gonna pay me. But I want you to do your own research. Just some interesting things, because the word chakra and crystals are used or misused and often sold, that have been polished. The more earthly, okay, untouched the crystal is, the better. So when you go into a crystal shop, remember they're out to make money. I personally am so in tune, sometimes I can hear the crystals literally, get me out of this place. I leave with a headache usually. That's how intuitive, when I'm conscious, that I can be. So be careful to understand that the more polished it is, the more, touched by others it is, it may not have its same glory. And I do preface to people hiking or just going into nature, ask permission. It's kind of an intuitive knowing before you take something, oak, pine, a crystal you might find, a rock that you might find, because you're taking from the element. So you have to have an intuition where you understand that you're given permission to do so. Same thing when in relationships. Take not that which does not belong to you or was not given to you. And if someone gives you their trust, their faith, their heart, take care of it. It is a big responsibility. Now, in terms of color, I won't be talking about grade of crystals. That'll be another episode to share with you. Just know there is something in science, and I like to revert to practical wisdom. And like I said, reading, checking sources, known as color therapy. It has been aiding many people, just like light gives us vitamin D. There's spectrums of light. People misunderstand, but maybe artists know this. White light, for example, is accumulation of all light. The different colors of crystals, not only what they're made of, the properties of iron, magnesium, sulfate, what are oxidized, all that stuff, all have an effect on the human body. And not everyone is affected the same way. So do you. Do what works for you. Generally speaking, however, the red light in the spectrum of things is stimulating energy. It aids, believe it or not, in blood circulation. Turquoise, beautiful color. It also complements red. Some people say it clears energy. I would look that up. Orange is the sacral chakra. And I'll talk about chakras because they're misused. People don't understand them. Let's face it, there's about 7 or 8, depending on the culture that you come from. Each is a spinning cycle, let's say, of where you are at. So when you're quite intuitive, the third eye that we've all heard about is open. And it's spinning. Your goal is to have these chakras all spinning in alignment, not out of control. And light does work with those chakras, so does consciousness. These things are the basics, let's say that. And I say there's 7. You can look it up anywhere because there's the heart chakra that we all speak of, the sacrum, the root chakra, and some will even say there's an 8th one leading us to other dimensions. I won't get too particular on those because, again, I'm just learning about it. What I'm here to tell you is understanding things and bringing them to a practical point is how you should live life. And I spoke about blind faith. Take what I say as simply a guide based on my personal experience. What works for me may not work for you. Let's talk about violet, which is that purple color. If you can see, I've got some purples going on too. That is the 3rd, eye chakra. And for some reason, it indicates inspiration, insight, and development of one's higher self. Yellow light represents intellect, solar energy. Makes sense, reds and oranges, sun, vitamin D. Some of these are actually used ancient times to get your blood flowing, to make things, a little bit more at peace. Green. Green is regarded as a cleansing, detoxifying color. The analogy I would use for that is nature. Folks, the chlorophyll, the symbiotic relationship, sun, energy, plant life. All the more reason if you're going to take something or honor it, do it with a permission to do so. How I can tell when something is not meant to enter my home is when I ask that, when I'm in peace. I don't go out there rampantly to the woods, and certainly not barefoot in these day and times with litter. So please, obviously, use your senses. But if I get this ill feeling, or the rock or whatever it is drops from my hand, I don't purchase it. If I get, or I don't take it, should I say. Same thing in a store, since I said the word purchase. If I'm in there and one gives me, I don't know, heebie-jeebie vibe or a headache, that stone is not meant for me. For example, I remember I reached for a lava bracelet, and you can read up on lava and the properties of it. And doggone it, every time I wear that darn bracelet, it hurts my wrist. Some rocks are not compatible with your energies. So if you're overly stressed, you may not be ready for a higher vibration, you know, stone. Some stones are used for balance. Here's what I'm here to tell you. And I will read you an excerpt from my Instagram, introduce you to my writing style, and hopefully in the future, others that follow me and subscribe will be read, including artists. I would love to highlight the artists that give us so much to look forward to. But what you have to be careful with in terms of using these modalities is do not make them the entire source of your healing. Use, whether it's my guidance in the future, my learned life lessons, as I call them, my writing, as a guide, as these tools are. They're not going to be your ultimate savior, although there is a placebo effect. Even doctors will tell you they'll encourage you to get better or give you better news about your health, because the brain, a whole other subject of magic, in of itself starts to repair itself because it starts to believe. But I want not for you to be taken advantage of, and I want you to do your own, healing and use everything as a tool, a means to an end. For example, YouTube, a means to an end, a means to get my information out there, a means to bring to people other artists as well as myself. Who knows, maybe my own show. Most of you all have been very encouraging, and as the subscriptions go, I'm going to tell you, I read and share and listen to appropriate feedback, and will continue to be inspired by all of you that help promote one another. And if it takes a crystal to get that headache away, if it takes a crystal to help battle the cancer, which I used, including faith, then so be it. Now, here's the danger in these items. A, taking them for granted, or taking them without permission. Buying them randomly because someone told you it was a good idea, without checking your own body's energy about it. Going to healers who already we know you have issues, and putting your full-fledged faith in a human being, because the wisdom is within, and these, again, are tools. Here's what I wrote recently, and if you don't know my channel, I think I can switch to show you. This is the Instagram feed that I have, blessed to have 6,000 and growing followers. I say 10% are real. Here's me telling everybody about the YouTube channel. But I wrote this so that people can think. And I think the one thing lacking in this world, and why we're being sold on so many products that are considered holistic or organic or crystals to save you, is we're desperate for help. And I don't want anyone to take faith, your desperation, and have you being abused or you misuse it, because energy is very important. So here's what I wrote based on faith, and it includes the crystal talk today. Faith has been known to rejuvenate, just as it has been known to annihilate. Blind faith can be magical, equivocally destructive, depending on one's interpretation of it. So when one speaks of faith, do yourself and the objects and the tools from the earth justice and glory. Know what it is that you speak of before you take a stance on anything, or try to raise arms on a subject, or defend another. No. Whether it's for or against something, equip yourself with knowledge. I hope this small snippet of the crystal and earth and permission and energy helps you somewhat. Blind faith can be what? Magical and destructive at the same time. It's up to you to choose. Make your choices wise. Subscribe. Share the love. Thank you.